Hi, welcome to the best time of the year. It's March Madness. We're so excited. We at Crossing Kid, we love tournament time. Well, I love tournament time. Kristen, maybe it's not so much. Oh, by the way, welcome to Crossing Kin and the Crossing Kin Garage. I'm Randy.
I'm Kristen.
We're excited. We just it's March Madness. And we want to celebrate with you by telling you our top 10 countdown of our favorite top sports-themed movies. Now, we understand that you're going to have your favorite. Some of them may have made the list. Some of them didn't make the list, perhaps. And we're not talking about classic films like Ronald Reagan's Newt Rockney, or some of these other great things that you'll see on Turner Classic Movies. We're talking more a little bit along the lines of modern day, past 25 perhaps year films that have made you smile and make your heart go, "Aw," or make you cheer like a crazy man because it's March Madness. So, with that, Kristen is going to get us started. We've got a top 10, but we do want to make mention of some honorable mentions. So, with that, this is the Crossing Kin Top 10 Sports Movies.
All right, our honorable mentions are The Rookie from 2002, starring Dennis Quaid. This is a baseball film. The Greatest Game Ever Played, starring Shia LaBeouf from 2005. This is a golf movie. Hoosiers from 1986, starring Gene Hackman and Dennis Hopper. This is a basketball film. Leatherheads from 2008, starring George Clooney and John Krasinski. This is a football movie. And finally, The Blind Side from 2009, starring Sandra Bullock. This is a football film.
Now, we understand that all of those could have made anyone's top 10. They're great films in and of themselves. But if you look at the pantheon of sports movies over the last 25 to 30 years, it's hard to pick. And we only had 10. And it's March Madness! So, pick your favorite basketball team to cheer on, or tune off television for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Because that's all that's going to be on.
Yeah.
It's March Madness.
All right, so kicking us off with number 10, Daddy.
Number 10 is a great film, my opinion personally. It's a great film, and it's about to happen. Coming up in April, we're going to begin seeing the NFL Draft. The movie is called Draft Day. It came out in 2014, stars Kevin Costner, Jennifer Garner, and Chadwick Boseman. It is a phenomenal film to see the behind the scenes of what ESPN goes on for days and days and days and days and days. Could be a little bit boring. Draft Day is not boring. It is fascinating. It gets you involved in sports managers and sports representatives and the athletes as well. And it gets you a little bit of a roller coaster ride into what Draft Day looks like. Number 10, Draft Day with Kevin Costner. Go check the film out.
All right, at number 9, we are sticking with Kevin Costner and For the Love of the Game, released in 1999. Starring alongside Mr. Costner is the late Kelly Preston, who we tragically lost to cancer late last year, right, I believe. As well as John C. Reilly, who plays the catcher to Kevin Costner's pitcher. This film is a baseball movie, and as well as being a romantic drama. It's kind of split, like evenly divided between being a romantic drama and a baseball film. But I will say this, it has a very, very excellent soundtrack, as well as a phenomenal cast.
Right, it's a great movie to get another behind the scenes look at what might possibly go on in the mind of a baseball player who really probably needs to retire. He's at the end of his time, and he's debating the whole retirement, not retiring issue. But like Kristen said, go get the soundtrack. Whether you watch the film or not, go get the soundtrack. It is an incredible, multifaceted soundtrack with a lot of great artists from this time period.
All right, that was number 9.
Number 8, Greater. We have an affinity for this movie because it tells the story of Brandon Bullsworth, a former Arkansas Razorback walk-on who came into getting a scholarship and then was eventually drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. he never saw time because he was tragically killed in a car accident. Greater is a faith-based film telling his story from walk-on to college star. You can even see today the Burles kids at Razorback football games, his trademark glasses and everything. There's a section for just those kids at every Razorback football game. Brandon Bullsworth's story, Greater. It came out in 2016, stars Neil McDonough and Christopher Saverio. Phenomenal football movie. Again, another behind the scenes if you want to see how a player would go from walk-on to college star. Outstanding. Again, just uplifting. Great film. Greater. Check it out.
We're also slightly biased.
We are very definitely biased. Woo pig.
Woo pig. All right. Number 7, American Underdog, released in 2021, starring Zachary Levi, Anna Paquin, and Dennis Quaid. This movie tells the story of football player Kurt Warner and his longtime struggle to get to professional football. And my goodness, this movie, it just makes you feel good.
It stars Zachary Levi?
It stars Zachary Levi.
Shazam! I didn't know that!
Shazam!
Sorry.
He's also, for those of us who prefer Disney, he is Flynn Rider. But anyway, this movie is phenomenal. Like I said, it gives you a great feeling every time I've watched it. And from what I understand, Kurt Warner and his real life wife were very involved in the making of this film.
Right.
So you know that while yes, some license may have been taken, you know that it is as true to the story as a film can be.
And Kurt Warner's family, in-laws, were from Arkansas.
Yeah, so I think a little bit of the film was either shot in or at the very least takes place in Arkansas.
Yeah.
So
great film. Another one of those faith-based movies that really shows Kurt Warner and his wife's faith journey as well as their football journey. People my age will recognize him instantly as quarterback for the Rams and their Super Bowl efforts during the 90s. So, great film. American Underdog. Check that out. Wonderful. Next, at number 6, we have the movie Woodlawn. Again, you're going to see a theme. We love faith-based films. In fact, in April, we're probably going to have a countdown just of our favorite faith-based films to coincide with the Easter celebration and everything.
So stay tuned.
So stay tuned. Hint, you want to watch in April. Okay, Woodlawn came out in 2015. One of our favorite actors, Sean Astin, is in this film. It is a faith-based film not only about football, not only about race relations, but about the Jesus movement. That's showing very popular to be right now with the movie Jesus Revolution out, starring Kelsey Grammer. Go and see the film, especially if you're my age and older. Go and see the film. You'll love the soundtrack. You'll love well, just go and see the film. It'll be very reminiscent for you. Woodlawn starred Sean Astin, Caleb Castile, John Voight as Bear Bryant. You need to watch the movie just for that. John Voight is a perfect Bear Bryant. And Nick Bishop, who is also one of our favorites in several films as we go through. So, Woodlawn from 2015, number 6.
All right, number 5. Oh my goodness, guys, I love this movie.
They just get bigger and better as we get on to number 1.
So, a little bit of backstory with this. I hadn't seen this particular film until about 2-3 years ago when we were expecting a great big ice and snowstorm. My sister and I were very much hoping for a whole lot of ice and snow, so we decided to watch a few movies with those particular things at its core. We were looking through Disney Plus and we happened upon our number 5 pick, Cool Running, released in 1993, starring John Candy, Leon, and Dougie Doug. And it tells the story of the Jamaican bobsled team.
You heard that right. Jamaican bobsled team.
And their struggle to get to the Olympics. Now, I had never really been exposed to bobsledding before I saw this movie. If you are a bobsledder, you have my undying respect.
Props.
You are probably some of the bravest people I know. We have a friend who competes in the Olympic bobsled.
Actually, she's a coach this year.
She's a coach this year.
Shout out, Brittany.
Hi, Brittany. So, yeah, but along with all the awesome bobsledding action that takes place, the characters and their dynamics are just so precious. I remember I laughed harder watching this movie than I had in a while at the time.
Everyone knows John Candy from his comedic props, but this is a more serious take on a role, as John Candy is the coach of the Caribbean Jamaican bobsled team.
These boys that have only seen ice in their drinks, if that.
If that.
So, yeah. Cool Runnings. It's a phenomenal film. Stream it on Disney Plus if you've never seen it. If you want a solid hour and a half, 2 hours of just feel good and laughter, this is the film for you.
Thoroughly enjoyable.
Cool Runnings, number 5, but we're not stopping until we get to the top.
Thank you, Casey. Number 4, like Kristen said, they're just better and better and better. And we feel like you're going to agree with us on at least, maybe not the order, but at least having the following films at the top of our list. At number 4 comes the 2000 film starring Denzel Washington and Will Patton, Remember the Titans. We are the Titans. Yes, phenomenal film. Again, another one of those based at a time talking somewhat about race relations and how that transition happened with segregation in the South. But it is an incredible, incredible film that has all of these. You continue to hear quotes from it, and Denzel continues to be referenced as being talked about as the coach. Will Patton is exquisite in this film as the assistant coach, and their chemistry, especially by the end of the film, is just, it's to be honored as a film. It is really a great representation of where we really need to be as a country. So, Remember the Titans. If you happen to be the one person who hasn't seen this film, Remember the Titans at your favorite streaming.
It's a Disney flick, so I think it should be on Disney
Plus. So, we have gotten 10 through number 4. Top 3. Here we go.
All right. Ooh, I'm excited for this one. At number 3, we have a basketball movie for March Madness.
Madness!
With 2006's Glory Road, starring Josh Lucas.
From Arkansas.
Yes, sir. John Voight makes his appearance yet again as Coach Adolph Rupp.
And he's a good Adolph Rupp. He's very, very good. John Voight just shows his versatility.
Mm-hmm. He had to put on so many prosthetics for it because he wanted to look more like Rupp. So props to you, Mr. Voight. As well as Derek Luke, who plays Bobby Joe Hill in this movie. This film is a little bit about race relations in a school in Texas, based on a true story. I believe it's set in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And it's about this little tiny school in Texas.
Texas Southern,
yes, sir. That hires a girls' high school basketball coach to be the coach for their men's team at this school. And they wind up going all the way. To fight against Kentucky for the national championship.
Fighting segregation all along the way, too. Josh Lucas is incredible in this film.
Yes.
Also, another piece of tidbit of trivia, in case you didn't know it. Another Arkansas connection. Nolan Richardson played his collegiate history at Texas Southern. After all of the events of Glory Road happened, he came along towards the end of this coach's tenure that Josh Lucas plays. And Nolan Richardson, the national championship coach for the Arkansas Razorbacks in 1994, played on the Texas Southern team. Incredible film. Again, another one about race relations. You'll see that theme in a lot of sports movies just because it's so important. Now, we have a philosophy here at Crossing Kin. We believe that there's only one race, and that's the human race. Everything else is culture or pigment of our skin. Please, please, please understand that these sports films talk about competitiveness. They talk about the human spirit and the human existence and the experiment, so to speak. But they also deal with cultural issues that have to be addressed and have been addressed in many ways. We still have a lot of work to do, no doubt. But ultimately, if we will love one another as one race, we'll see a lot of these things, a lot of the conversations even, disappear. Sports is a great way to facilitate some of those conversations. And we encourage you to explore those films that explore those kinds of situations. You see at the end of most of these films that people come together to achieve a goal. A lot of times in these instances, it's to win a game. But a lot of times it's to change a community as well. So, that being said, we love Glory Road.
Yes. One last thing I want to highlight. The young men who play the basketball players, to my knowledge, they did all of their own basketball work. So,
props.
Good job, guys. And they all have phenomenal chemistry. A lot of these guys were not professional actors. I think Bobby Joe is the only one who was a professional actor at the time. Most of them have gone on to have careers, but yeah. So, well done, young men.
Awesome.
Y'all did well. All right, we're up to number 2.
Our last 2. I know you're sad, but here we go. We Are Marshall comes in at number 2. The 2006 film starring Matthew McConaughey,
Matthew Fox.
And Matthew Fox. Thank you.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie.
This was the first film that Anthony Mackie, most famous currently for his role in the MCU as Sam Wilson, aka Falcon, now Captain America, and this was the first film I ever saw him in, so this one is very near.
We Are Marshall tells the story of the Marshall football team that was tragically killed in a plane crash and the rebirth of their football program. Matthew McConaughey is fantastic in it. Matthew Fox is fantastic in it.
Anthony Mackie makes me cry.
Anthony Mackie is just incredible. He's just a great actor. We can't say enough about We Are Marshall. And again, another basically rising from the ashes sports story to maybe not achieve greatness, but coming from where they were to where they go is absolutely incredible. We Are Marshall.
All right. Number 1, guys. Miracle from 2004.
It's not a basketball movie?
Nope, it's a hockey movie.
Hockey movie?
Hockey movie. A hockey movie. This hockey movie, in my opinion, and our opinion, because we made this list together, is the best sports movie ever.
Now, we have to give this disclaimer. We don't watch hockey.
At all.
We've never watched a complete hockey game.
It scares me.
It's the only complete hockey game I have ever watched is the one included in this movie.
The one in which Miracle is based on.
Exactly. The hockey match between the United States hockey team and the USSR hockey team.
In the 1980 Olympics.
The Cold War was crazy at that point. Mm-hmm. And this highlights some of the geopolitical things that were going on, but really it's a sports story about
these fantastic young men,
trying
to make their way through life, and this coach that made sure to instill in them that life was about more than what you do on the ice.
Yeah, the coach is played by
Kurt Russell in a wig doing a Minnesota accent. This was, I believe, my first Kurt Russell movie, if you don't count his voice work in Fox and the Hound. But yeah, so Kurt Russell, I love him. I've loved him in everything I've seen him in. While I cannot say I've seen all of his body of work, I've seen a good bit of it, and I adore him. This movie also has an interesting bit of trivia. The gentlemen who play the hockey players, none of them were hired for their acting ability. None. They were hired because they could skate and play hockey. But this film did give us Eddie Cahill, one of my favorite actors in this show, CSI New York, which I've said previously is my favorite of the CSIs. So, yes, thank you, Miracle, for giving us Eddie Cahill.
The most fantastic part of it is the apex of the game between the United States and Russia. Al Michaels is calling the game. I can fondly remember as a kid sitting in our living room, and every time, just never mind, I'll get emotional. Every time Al Michaels screams, "Can you believe it?"
Do you believe in
do you
miracles?
believe in miracles? I just fall apart. It's such an incredible moment in sports history.
Also in this movie, for most of the final game, they have an actor doing an impression of Mr. Michaels. For the "Do you believe in miracles" moment, they actually got his recording.
They insert the genius of editing in, even at that time's filmmaking process. They insert Al Michaels' actual audio of that time, and it is, again, people my age who remember that, and many of you perhaps it is also the only hockey game you have ever watched start to finish. Incredible film. It's our number one.
Also, one more tick in the box of the wonderfulness that is Miracle. It closes out with an Aerosmith song with "Dream On," and it's not some wimpy little edited version or some weird little cover. It is Aerosmith, and it is the whole song.
It's the whole song, and it's incredible as the credits are rolling, and you see where these guys are at the time of the making of the film. It does one of those nice things that a lot of these sports films do. This is where they were, this is where they are now, kind of scenarios, and it really. It just makes you want to embrace the TV, because it makes you want to believe in miracles. This David and Goliath story on ice, so to speak. But Miracle is our favorite. We don't like hockey. It's madness!
But we love this movie with all our hearts.
Welcome to March Madness. We hope that you do enjoy the NCAA tournament, men's as well as the women's basketball tournament that's going on right now. We hope that you find your team, and we hope that your team wins a lot. Unfortunately, they're going to have to lose to Arkansas eventually.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not this year. But anyway, we'll see. That's what madness is all about. You never can tell who's going to win. We hope that you have enjoyed our top 10 sports movies countdown. Please, let us know the sports movies that we might have missed, or how you would have ranked the ones that we listed. Also, let us know some of the classic films, like the Ronald Reagan film we alluded to earlier, that we might want to go back and double check ourselves. We confess, we've not seen every sports film known to mankind. We do like sports films, but we haven't seen them all. Comment below, let us know.
Also, be sure to like, share, turn on that notification bell so that you know next time we upload, and be sure to subscribe. And we will hit you back in 2 weeks with a video I am so looking forward to. I'm so looking forward to this video, so make sure you're here next week. It's a secret for now, but make sure you're here in 2 weeks. For our next upload. Until then, I'm Kristen.
I'm Randy.
We're so glad you joined us today. Bye.
See you later from the Crossing King Garage.